Okay, so it was roughly 4:45, 4:50. So I headed out of this particular place, which is my can't think of the word. Help me out. Hostel, which is my hostel. Okay, so I left my hostel roughly around 5 o'clock, and I went downstairs, and my Uber picked me up right at the front door. He dropped me off. Was a really nice guy. Talked to me about all kinds of stuff, like at the World War II Memorial Museum. And he was a good guy. He asked me what I do for work. I told him I work for United and I work for the move team, all that stuff. And his name was James, and he had a Chrysler Pacifica, and it was a van, so I sat in the back. It was a very nice ride. And he was playing 50s and 60s music. I know because he told me he was born in the 50s and 60s. Anyways, so he drives me about 15 minutes to my destination. He drops me off at a corner and says, "There you go, there it is." And I'm puzzled. I'm like, that doesn't look anything like it. So I'm like, okay. So I walk over, I go into this establishment, this restaurant. I go, "Are you the Select Crawfish Company?" They go, "No, we're not. It's down the street, further up." And go, okay. So I go next door, and there were two guys sitting outside, gentlemen by the name of Ray and Billy, like Billy Ray and Ray. And so I said, "By any chance, do you happen to know where this place is?" Select Crawfish Company. I said, "Hold on, this rings sort of a bell. That used to be them, because they used to have a big old trailer with a whole bunch of crawfish, and they would cook out back. And I don't think it's crawfish season, buddy." So we had that whole big lecture and all that. And they said, "Hey, here's a phone number if you want. Call them." And I said, "Hey, come on up on our porch, and sit down, talk to us." So we had a whole conversation about where to eat, about what to do in NOLA, about what I've done, where to go, all that stuff. They were great guys. We had probably a good 30 to 40 minute conversation just about things in general about NOLA. And so we got some out of the talk, and they said, "Well, you probably want to check up the street, right? You'll probably want to check up a street, a place called Tracy's." That's what this place used to be called. The owner moved, and there was some disagreement. They had a contract, disagreement. They wouldn't renew the contract, so they moved. They never changed their name, so this is still their contract, right? So, anyhow, I went ahead, and it's like, well, if you really want to get anything, you really need to boot scoot, get out of here. It was about 5:15, 5:30, and so I went over there, and I walked like a couple of blocks. It was like 5 or 6 couple of blocks. And finally, I was stopped, and I was like, all right, I gotta look. And my phone battery was like, I don't know, 10%, 9% was getting low. So I couldn't have a whole lot of time to talk, a lot of time to search and all that stuff. So I didn't look for another place that looked pretty good. And so I walk there, and I wait a minute. This place only is pickup or delivery. You can't sit there. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go find this place. So I walk, and sure enough, on the corner on the left-hand side, Tracy's Seafood. I walk in, I grab a menu, I ask to go outside, I go outside, there's nothing. Like, I can't even sit down, it's unbearable. So they give me water, and I think the guy was like, if you get what I mean, like homosexual. So I went back inside. I said, "Hey, is anyone sitting here?" It was like a big old, table, like a countertop with like bar stools, right? And so they're like, "No, I'm gonna sit here." But then I realized there was a booth that was right against the back wall. I said, "You know what? No, I'm gonna sit here." So I sat there, and then I flagged him down and said, "Hold on, I came here just for crawfish. I don't see it on the menu. Do you guys know where it is?" "Hold on, it's out in the back. I'm gonna go get it." So without even asking me what he wants to order, they bring up this big old aluminum tray, cooking tray, and basically gives that to me. He brings out me another one to put all the scraps in. So he said, "Okay, here you go." And then, so I had my water, and it had crawfish, it had potatoes, it had corn, it had mushrooms, and it had garlic in there. It was spicy. I mean, it was hot. It was spicy as anything. So then I ate that, and then I did a little video on that, and then shortly thereafter, about midway, I asked for a Coke, and they gave me a Coke, and then I was watching the Yankees play baseball. It was a whole bunch of sports games, but that was the one that stood out to me the most. And then shortly then thereafter, was about, I don't know, a good hour and a half I was there trying to munch down. I left about 6 or 7 pieces left. That was it, of that whole tray. And so I grabbed that, and then I walked outside, and then I walked a couple of blocks, and I said, oh, hold on, I can take the city train or the streetcars back. So I walked a couple of blocks till I needed, it was like 4%, 5% at this point. It was like, oh my God, I'm getting dangerously close. So I find a stop, it's right in the middle of an intersection, and I hop on and said, are you going to Canal Street, which is where I needed to go? I said, yes, sir, hop on board. So I hopped on and said, okay, the fare is $1.50, go ahead and pay it. So I pull out my card, and I tapped it, and he goes, you need cash, we don't accept cards. I'm like, but there's a card slot, why do you have a card slot? Anyways, I said, excuse me, sir, please drop me off, I can't afford this. He goes, you know what, this is a courtesy ride, in the meantime, don't do it again. I said, yes, sir. So he took me about 15 stops to Canal Street in St. Augustine or something, and he dropped me there. Now Canal Street is just a huge busy road, like a huge major road for them, a huge major intersection. And then it was one road to Bourbon Street and one street over. So I went up there, went to the left, I went all this street, and then 2 blocks up is mine. But there was a Walgreens. I walked into Walgreens. I found my best friend some pins. I found a couple of ponchos. I found a Coke, so I paid for them. And then I walked back to my place, went upstairs and crashed, and then, yeah, that was it. Then I went back to Bourbon Street, walked there for a couple of times, and I found a shirt, really funny shirt. It's kind of a dirty shirt, basically a woman with tits, okay? Fully exposed. And so then I walked down there, and then I explored, and then came back. Now I made a couple laps. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I went into a couple of shops because I was trying to find the umbrella that was like plastic. I was trying to find the Mardi Gras umbrella that was like plastic, that was like green, yellow, and purple, and I knew it was somewhere. So I did that, and then with no luck, I just got the shirt. I came back home, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm here now and packed it all up. It's good to go. That's my travels. All right, I will see you guys back, but I wanted to leave this so that I could remember all of my thoughts. Now I came back here, it was around 8:30, and then I went up to Broadway Street. It was about 9:45. Came back here, it was about 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:15, and then I showered, and that's when I packed up. And so yeah, can't wait to go back home. So I'm gonna pick up here at 9:30 for an Uber, and then I'm gonna make it to the airport, and then that's it. Thank y'all for watching, appreciate it.